finally completed the hardest challenge I have ever come across. In all of my years of video gaming, Terraria Mastermode is done. After doing this, I can finally have my free time back. I can finally put all of my affairs in order. But don't get me wrong, I am so glad that I did this, because it just proves how dedicated I am. Spending, I think, 190 hours in Tmod Loader, which is the Terraria thing. Ooh. But without further ado, here's what you were waiting for. So in case you didn't remember, I killed the wall of flesh. Simple enough, trust me. And the main drop of this fight is actually the demon heart, which gives you an extra accessory slot, which is quite literally a godsend in this game, being how you actually get to survive in this game. Quite shocking, I know. Running immediately to the Crimson, we break 3 of the millions of altars in this world to gather Palladium, Orichalcum, and breaking news. Kill Me has just died not once, not even twice, but 3 goddamn times. Now back to your local broadcast. Titanium getting the Ankh shield. And wouldn't you know it, while grinding away to get said shield, a pirate invasion began, and I am AFK since I cannot stand to sit next to my computer for several hours at a time without doing anything. Oh hey friends, glad you're here. Oh, you want to come see my house? Well, let me just teleport in and show you around. Aw, you guys have parrots? God damn it. Yep. Oh, look at this mess. Who made this place an actual living hell for poor travelers? Dungeon time. The traveling merchant granted my wish and gave me the Sergeant United shield, which does a ton of damage and homes in on up to 5 enemies at a time, which, when running from enemies that can one-shot me, aka everything, and I can auto-target and seriously damage them. Yes, the goblin army is invading. Now is the perfect time to test my and after a solid amount of both dying and 30 minutes of suffering, the event is finally over so I can go cry in peace. 10 hours of the grind later, and finally the Ankh shield is in my hands, and it is the ultimate boost to defense, and the several immunities that would usually kill me in seconds now cannot kill me at all. The mechanical worm. I hate my life and everything that it has to do with, all because of this stupid worm. Oh look, another pirate invasion. How fun. Thinking back to my original strategy for the mechanical boss fights, I used the Sergeant United shield and the banana rings, since they were incredible to kill the probes and still avoid the head of the destroyer. However, that proves entirely useless in this fight due to the massive amount of health and damage everything has and does. Oh, finally titanium. I can't wait to get the armor set 10 hours after starting hard mode for some unknown reason. And 1 eternity later, I finally got the titanium pickaxe, which is the only thing that can mine chlorophyte. However, you have to kill at least 1 mechanical boss to spawn it and for it to spread, which is going to be hell. Full titanium armor, which is actually 3 tiers above hellstone armor, which I've had for so long. I'm so stupid. Stupid worm. God damn it. Ah yes, the slime queen. Hopefully I can kill. Okay, never mind, it's not worth it. Even closer than before. Great. The next step, which I should have done sooner, is build a man-made corruption biome to summon the Eater of Worlds and get a juicy piece of loot known as the Worm Scarf, reducing all damage dealt to me by a whopping 17%. Finishing up an arena, I place torches and then fight Queen Slime, finally killing her this time and moving immediately to the destroyer to make a large amount of game progression, but wouldn't you know it, I died. What a surprise. But then finally, the deed is done and progress can be achieved. But then I got cocky and died to the twins since I still had my buffs. but there was a moment in the fight that I had to rewatch. Look at this damage. 26,000 and then 13,000. Each with a single shot of the Zappinator, which is actually ridiculous. I still died, but again, great knowledge I'll never use. But after the twins go down, it's time for quite possibly the easiest mechanical boss, which is actually not right at all, by the way. Except I forgot to record it. Surprise, surprise. So we'll get back to that fight. I'll throw it in later in the video. Finally, the True Knight's Edge. One of the best weapons this far, and it will carry me well into hard mode until the solar eclipse event, which causes Molthrons to spawn, which also has the chance to drop the Broken Hero Sword, the key to the Terra Blade. The grind for Chlorophyte is next on the agenda, and wouldn't you know it, I got the True Excalibur, leaving one item remaining for the Weapon of Heroes. There we go, back to him finally, and there he goes. The Old One's army approaches, and they have a lot more health than I expected and prepared for, in all honesty. Perfect, a solar eclipse while I'm gone. Isn't that fun? Let's count the deaths before I realize. Too many. And then all done, finally, for game progression. Speaking of progression, I spent the next 3 hours after that eclipse crafting the Celestial Cuffs, which is a huge boost to all magic damage, aka the Zappinator, I do, and adds more mana for those extra juicy shots. Starting on the smallest Plantera arena in the world, I spend the next half hour on the spot and it turns out quite nice. I actually see how this game can turn into an aesthetics game real quick, and I love it. But I summon her up and die pretty quickly into her second phase because I got impatient building an arena. And realizing I had only titanium gear, I searched the entire jungle for chlorophyte, and looking back, I ask, can you create your own chlorophyte farm out of mud and ore? I craft a full set of chlorophyte gear and run back to the jungle to finish the arena for the rematch of the century. Hooray! And after 6 solar eclipses, 20 deaths during those eclipses, and 13 Molthrons spawning in, I finally got the Broken Hero Sword and crafted the Terra Blade. I summoned up Queen Slime to show her up in combat, being how I decimate everything that stands in my way. The King of the Reptiles is up next, being Golem, and I implement the ultimate technique of running back and forth, confusing the beast. Shockingly, it works, and I try again to get some good loot, doing just as well and cowardly running home so I don't lose all my stuff. With Golem down, the dungeon hunt for the extra rare paladins can commence for that delectable shield of his that will grant me a ridiculous amount of defense. And after 2 hours of sitting in the dungeon, I finally get it and craft the Frozen Shield, which, when I'm below 50% life, it reduces my damage by 25%, being the most broken item in the game so far. I also upgrade my AFK farm to increase spawn rates and let turtles spawn in so I can rip their shells off and put it on my own skin and get beetle armor. The best armor before Moonlord. Yay, another solar eclipse, cause isn't this just so much fun? I work on crafting the 2 events, which are the Pumpkin Moon and the Naughty Present events, which are honestly a lot of fun since they make a ton of money and they are surprisingly easy. Also helping to achieve the goal of the Zenith, which requires basically every single powerful sword in this game, plus a copper sword, and it is a broken weapon, so I hopefully get it soon. I get the Rod of Discord since that is the best way to possibly avoid the Moonlord's ridiculous laser beam and actually allowing me to live. Next up is setting my spawn by the dungeon and taking on the lunatic cultist. And on a time crunch, as I was getting called to dinner twice by my mom.
I'll be up in a couple minutes. I'm coming, hold on.
With the cultists defeated, the pillars spawn around the map, and the last challenge before the Moon Lord. The first pillar to take on is the Stardust pillar, since it can craft the best summon in the entire game, being either the Stardust Dragon or the Stardust Cell. And I easily cheese the pillar with a flying mount, so only the cells spawn, and then instantly destroy the pillar once the shield is down. Next is the Vortex pillar, and the cheese for this one is staying high and off to the side, so only the portal enemies appear, and it's only 2 at a time, so they are easy to deal with. Then the Solar, then the Nebula. We get the message of impending doom. Before the Moon Lord, I did in fact build a nurse healing box. However, there was an issue that I will mention in just a bit. The big boy himself spawns and we run away trying not to die. But if you'd noticed how much time is left in the video, it didn't go well.
No,
Remember that issue with the nurse box? Well, if you take a look here, it shows the nurse isn't
Nurse is not there.
here. So, my entire strategy is useless and can't even be used. Wait. Ah yes, Martians have arrived. This is where I can get the UFO mount and the influx waiver, the next zenith crafting material, which this event can also give a steady income of coins since late game enemies give the most amount of coins. Once the UFO spawns, I right away hop out of my hole and fight him in the sky, which goes well until it doesn't.
No!
I give up on that dream and head over to the ocean for an optional but kinda not boss, being Duke Fishron, who can drop a mount that moves basically at Mach 1 while it's raining, making it super effective during the Moonlord fight. This fight is really easy considering I got the Eye of Cthulhu yo-yo and the yo-yo bag, which throws the yo-yo farther and it just does so much damage, so it's one of the best things to have here. However, it's never that easy, because as the fight goes on, Duke gets much faster, so it's harder to stay close enough to hit it with the yo-yo, so we switch back to the Terrorblade. Other than that, the fight goes smooth with no deaths, and we get the Fishron mount, which is godly luck. With this brand new mount, I sleep literally days waiting for it to rain. As soon as it does, I summon up the Squid Lord and fight him once again. On the contrary, because there always is, it actually stopped raining mid-fight, so I lost all speed boosts that the cute mount got.
Ow.
And I was essentially moving like I was running in a dream. Oh, and that was my last sigil for the Moonlord fight. I spawned him in, but realized I forgot literally every buff needed, yet for some reason all I needed was the Terrorblade, my summons, and Vampire Knives. All the pillars go down with ease since I'm determined to beat this game here and now. He awakens and we get to work. Using our Daybreak to deal as much damage as possible to the closest side to us, we just run. We have our Seal mount with the rain to get our scared little ass out of there and hit the giant scary man as much as possible. The impressive thing in this fight is how fast my mount is, because I can actually outrun the tentacle thing the Moonlord shoots at me, which gives me the Moonbite debuff, which doesn't let me use my awesome Vampire Knives, making them uncool and very useless since they do minimal damage. However, without the debuff, I can attack Ye Old Lord and actually heal, both saving me money and letting my potion sickness wear off. My knees were weak and my arms were heavy. I was vomiting on my sweater and Mom was making spaghetti, but somehow, in some way, I had finally brought his health down to nothing, meaning I had just beaten the hardest challenge in my entire life. Except, this is not the end. I mentioned it before, but I'm going to get the Zenith. I'm going to beat this world in its entirety.
Let's go! Oh my god, finally. Jesus. Ow, my hand too.
Catching prismatic lace swings in the night, I wait for the perfect chance to use them for a hard boss later on. Getting the Zenith requires the longest grind of all time, which means I need to kill the Moonlord to get 2 swords, the Pumpkin for the Horseman's Blade, the Martian Saucer for the Influx Waiver, and the Copper Sword from the Merchant. I'll speed through this because it probably takes me at least half of the 39 hours of post-Moonlord footage that I have left to edit. And now, with the horseman's blade in my hands, I have 5 of the 10 swords, meaning I'm only halfway there. Whoa. The last sword comes into my hands, and it is beautiful. Finally, being able to craft the Zenith, being the best weapon in the entire game, and those lace wings I caught summon the Empress of Light, who goes down in seconds. The drill containment unit is up next, but that'll come in handy later on, so I'll mention it then. This is the moment that I start the 28-hour journey to get 100% in this world, with one looming achievement that made this take so long. But starting off strong, getting the die achievement, fly a drone to the moon, drown myself just so I can survive by drinking water, kill Betsy for the first time, killed a gang of snowmen during a solar eclipse. Hey, if you don't mind, I'm gonna skip to the 2 most important achievements, but I will leave a list of the ones I still need to complete here. And I'll move on to the most important ones. Super Helper Minion, which requires literally 200 quests completed by the Angler, and Good Riddance, which is completely purifying all of the world from every evil. Oh, and then a rare realm. I'll mention that one soon. To cleanse the world, I first have to dig tunnels throughout the entire world so I can actually purify it with the Terraformer, the shimmered form of the Contaminator. An hour in, I get so sick of going through each and every row that I decide, you know what, I'll just take this whole world with me and break every single block in the ocean. And then I decide to speed up the process by using the most explosive weapon with literal nukes to demolish this hell of a world. This is what I do for the next 12 hours of total gameplay, since this took so long to fully accomplish for some reason. And then I set another goal, one that I will regret for many months to come, and it is to create a brand new world with the Get Fixed Boy seed, and known to many players as the Legendary Seed, which is the hardest challenge in all of vanilla Terraria, which will come eventually to a channel near you. All of this got to the point where I literally had to stop destroying everything just so I could finish fishing with so much left to do. And then I just went to do homework while I waited because this still has 2 hours left of fishing before I can actually finish this game. Being so close, I've been so excited, and especially when I get the 200th Angler quest, I move everybody out of their outside of the boundary home so they can live in my Skylander-esque base, and finally blow up the worst world I've ever experienced in Terraria. God damn it. Oh, wait, nope, that wasn't.